Hi guys! Today I am going to attempt to answer some questions. Now I was supposed to do an event at a library not long ago, but there was a big snowstorm and it didn't work out and it hasn't been rescheduled yet. It will be later on, but until that time I thought it'd be kind of fun to answer those questions in a little YouTube video. So some of these questions I've actually answered in previous videos. I've talked about some of these subjects. But today I'm going to answer them all one after the others. And yeah, we'll just go through it quickly though, because there's quite a few questions here and I don't want a big long video. I say that, but it probably will be. So the first question is, when did you first realize you wanted to be a writer? Well, this is something I was interested in a long time ago. This was something I was interested in as a kid. I kind of played around with it. I think I've talked about that in a video actually previously. Yeah, so it's something I was always interested in. I didn't always have the confidence to do it, which is usually the biggest killer. You know, you talk to a lot of people, they're trying to get into something that really interests them, and you ask them about their passion, but then they kind of step back a bit when it comes to sort of jumping ahead and actually doing it, because it's scary. Let's face it, it's kind of scary, but you got to do it right. And I got to that point in 2010. I had been going to college. I was bored, not because it was a terrible course, but because it just wasn't something that appealed to me. And I realized that, you know, it's time to kind of do what I actually want to do. Let's just give it a shot, see what happens. And here I am. When did you write your first book? My first book was published in 2010. I technically probably started in 2008. Yeah, I think I started picking at, and then it was sort of a bit of a slow process, because even after I had finished, I went back and changed a lot, and then I wasn't sure about publishing and what I was going to do and all this stuff. But yes, the short answer is 2010. What inspired you to start writing? Well, I'm inspired by a lot of things, but I think generally speaking, since day one, even when I was really young, it's always been to make people think and to make people consider the other side of situations. People kind of tend to get stuck in their own little world, and we all do it. And we don't look at the other side of things. You know, what about if you're in this situation? And how would you react differently? I mean, it's easy when your life is one specific way, kind of think, oh, it's, you know, whatever, what's wrong with that person? And we all do it. But my writing really is inspired, or it's kind of inspired by the fact that we have to look at other points of view sometimes. So how long does it take to write a book? It takes me 50 days, because I write one chapter per day. Now, not 50 days in a row, and that's not counting editing, but to actually get the content down, 50 days. And then there's editing, and then there's, you know, different things like that. And it takes a while, but I have been, for the last few years, publishing 2 books a year. Just to give you an idea. What's next here? What genre is... and who is your main audience? Well, my genres kind of tend to be all over the place. I've wrote a couple fantasy books, but the most recent one are about criminals. Before that, it was about rock stars. But the overall genre, if I had to pick one, would be like a dark fiction, occult fiction. I don't really like being put in a genre, and I've talked about that before in videos too. I don't like it. I just kind of like to do a little bit of everything, just a little bit. So, and there's no specific age. I have people who read my books that are different ages, different walks of life. You just never know. Okay. What's the next question? Where do you get your information or ideas? Life. Life. Turn on the news. What I see, what interests me, I shouldn't say interests me so much, is grabs my attention. For example, I watch and read a lot of things about things like racism and big pharma and sort of... I don't know, just different things that sort of interest me in everyday life. That's kind of what ends up coming into my books. So it's things I'm passionate about and inspire me, and they grab my interest and I want to explore. Let's see, what else we got here? What kind of research do you? I think that kind of answers that question too. The research is pretty much the same. It's stuff that interests me anyway. Sometimes I have to research further into a topic through the eyes of my character. So how much do I have to know that my character has to bring out in the story? So for example, I'm talking about politics a lot lately. I'm not an expert in politics, but in my books, I mean, I'm not an expert in politics. However, I look at it from my protagonist's point of view. What does he have to know? And what would he seek out as information? And what is going to impact his decisions? So that's kind of what I look at. Do you write using a pen or a computer? Computer. There'd be no way in hell I'd write a book with a pen and paper. No way in hell. I do write my notes down. I have a book. Oh, actually, I have it right here. I have a book. This here. This is all my notes for the last few books I've wrote this series. And so this is like, if I opened it up, it's like everything from character notes to, you know, the actual breakdown of chapters. Oops. And the little number in the corner, 1, that means the first book, and so on. So I have very clear notes. A new character comes in, I have it in capital letters, so it grabs my attention if I have to go back and research something and kind of to remind myself, because I forget things sometimes. What is the most difficult part of your writing process? Editing. Editing in the back cover. Back cover is not... It's getting a little easier. It's still difficult to do. I always have people help me with that because it's really hard to sum up what you want people to know about the book. It's really hard to condense it all and yet market it, because that's a way of marketing your book. What's in the back cover? It's very challenging, and you can put a lot of stress on yourself doing them back cover. So I just get help. What else do I have here? How many books have you written? 10. I'm on number 11th. My favorite would be the last one, which I don't have here. I'd show you. It's called And the Devil Will Laugh. It's my favorite, but it's not nearby, and I don't have to put the computer down and go and get it. Just, where are we? But you can find it all over my social media if you haven't seen it already, all over my social media. Difficult. Where was I? I'm on number. Okay, what would you say is your interesting writing quirk? I don't know if it's a quirk, but I only write in the mornings. I guess a quirk would be that I don't tend to get up while writing a chapter. So I don't go, stop, get breakfast, because I always write in the morning. I don't go and make a cup of coffee or take the garbage out, anything. I just sit and write continually until the chapter's done. So I guess that's a bit of a quirk. I don't stop a chapter and finish it later in the day or the next day, a few hours later. I don't like that. I guess that's my quirk. It's kind of weird. Okay, I see that now. What is your work schedule like when you're working? Well, when you're writing, it's actually the other way around. I work my writing schedule around my work. Mornings I'm off, I write. Mornings I'm not off, I work on social media. I might write down a blog, I should say. Jot down a blog. I might do a video like I am now. I might upload a video, because I don't always upload them the same day. I usually don't upload them the same day I record them. You know, it just depends. I usually find a way to kind of work everything in. So I kind of have a little schedule in my own little mind. My own mind. That doesn't sound good. Yeah, so it just depends on the day. I work around my work schedule. I write around my work schedule. You know what I mean. Where was I? Number 13, lucky 13. What was the one of the most surprising things you learn in creating your books? One of the most, that the characters write the books. You don't. You know, there's a quote I seen recently and I love it. It's like, you're not God. When you're the writer, you're the secretary. And, you know, and that's really how it is. I don't sit down and say, this character's going to do this and this one's going to... The characters do what they want and you just follow them around. And you just don't ask questions. You just go along with it. That's the most surprising thing. It sounds strange if you're not a writer. Like, what do you mean? Like, you're in control. No, you're not. No, you're not. It's really hard to explain, but you just have to follow the story and just your instincts, and your instincts take you where you need to go. What else we got here? What is your favorite type of book to read? I read a lot of nonfiction on topics that interest me anyway, which varies. Like I've read some of the cartels, which is appropriate with my writing, and I've read books on, lately I've been reading books on racism and white supremacy, not because they interest me, but because I'm fascinated by how this sort of mentality starts and how it comes out in society and why. I'm fascinated by by human nature. I mean, I'm fascinated by criminals. I'm fascinated in the sense that I'm kind of wondering how the criminal mind works. Not fascinated by them, but their mind, their way they think. Especially violent criminals, like I write about. I'm fascinated by these kind of things and sort of why people are the way they are. So I guess that's kind of the books I end up choosing. I guess that's the best way to answer that question. I don't read a lot of fiction. I think it's because when you're writing it, it's sort of hard to read fiction too. I don't know why. It just, for me anyway, I don't know. Not that I never do, but I don't read a lot of it. So where was I? Were there any authors or books that in particular that influenced you? I'd like to think, especially my last couple books that the one I'm even writing now, influenced by George Orwell. I think I'm saying that right. Orwell? Yeah, Orwell. We'll say I'm saying that right. Anyways, I'm very inspired by what he's done. I think he was an amazing writer, and he was very, he had a very strong understanding of human nature and how things were working in the world and what was going on around him. And he was very analytical. I love that. I found that very inspiring. I try to do that with my writing. I'm not saying I'm as good as him, but I try to do that. I think I try to bring a lot of that into my writing. He's probably my biggest inspiration. There's others, but I think he's probably my biggest inspiration right now. How do the books get published? That's a long explanation. I'll give you the short one. You can self-publish, be an indie author, which you just find a really good publisher and go with them and you pay money and whatever. Or you can go to a smaller publisher or try to get picked up by a smaller publisher if they're interested in your work. Or if you want to work with a big publisher, you would have to get an agent first. A lot of people don't necessarily know that. A lot of these big companies don't even look at you if you don't have an agent. No matter how good you are, they only do have agents. So that's my understanding. I'm not an expert on the whole field. However, that's what I'm told. And so I just kind of went my own route because that's how I am. I wanted to be published. I wanted my book out there and now. And I just did it, because I loved it and that's what I wanted to do. Do you design your book covers? No. I pick some images that I want and my publisher does that. And they're way better than I would be. But I kind of give them an idea what I'm looking for. So my latest book, I said I wanted the cover to be darkened and I want, certain specific things. And they did it. They come up with something way better than I ever would. But I pick the initial image and that they can work with. How do you market your books? Oh, wow. So that in itself, again, is a video. I market my books mostly through social media because it's free and because everyone's there. So I get on Twitter. Twitter's probably my biggest one. Facebook, I'm on there. All these different social media sites. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy it. It's a lot of work. It takes a lot more time because people, when I tell them I'm doing social media for my writing, they just kind of look at me like, what do you mean? You just post something on Facebook? Well, it's a little more than that. There's a lot. You have to check notifications. You have to check emails. You have to always be thinking ahead. What's another way I can get my book out there and make people see what I'm trying to say and what's in it, why it's special. It's not just, special to me, but why it might be special to them, why they might enjoy reading it. You have to really look at different angles and try to research and stuff. It's not as simple as it sounds. Everybody's out there doing the same thing. You gotta find something that's captivates people and gains attention without being too over the top. So social media is a huge part. I also print my own bookmarks, which I also should have here to show you. Yeah, I print my own bookmarks. I personally don't print them. I have a company that prints my own bookmarks, and they have all my book covers on it and how to get in contact with me, and I make sure the bookmarks get out there, which is a great way to market your material if you're a writer. And last question. Oh wow, this video is long. Where can we get your books? Anywhere online. Anywhere. Anywhere. Amazon chapters, Apple Books, whatever, everywhere. Internationally. You don't have to be in Canada. You can be anywhere. You can walk in your bookstore if they don't have it, which they probably won't because they only like bestsellers. Then you ask them to order it in, and they can. And if they don't, you can contact me and I'll deal with them because they can. It's available. Go to your library. If it's not in your library, ask them and order it in. It's, it's an option, right? I think that answers everything. If there's anything more, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make such a long video. Have a great day, guys. Thank you.